You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the dangers of teams making trades per the Toronto Raptors. Because if you guys haven't seen how they've been since they made trades, it's been bad. We're also going to talk about P. Will being in a walking boot and how he can miss extended time. And is Ayo Dosunmu finally turning the corner? We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host creator of Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your best bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked on. With that being said, Pat, let's go ahead and get into these topics for today. So as we were putting this show together today, we ran across an interesting stat, just talking. This is why just talking sports sometimes with your boys is important. The Toronto Raptors, since making their trades, have gone a whopping 4-10. 4-10. It's been ugly. I think they're right now in the midst of like a 6-7 game losing streak, something like that. Now, while I do think the Toronto Raptors' motivations of them trading their pieces is very different than the Chicago Bulls, we know that AK and Eversley want to stay competitive. But, Pat, hearing that and hearing also that Zach LaVine's trade market is low, I know you are one of the loudest spoken people on saying that the Bulls are better without Zach LaVine, and there's definitely data to back that up. How do you feel now about the Bulls potentially just making a deal to make a deal?
I mean, listen, I think the deals that I've said, yes, they're deals where you're going to be on the losing end of them, but I do feel like they're pieces that you need, right? If you traded with the Pistons, I think you get back some solid three-point shooting that you actually need to be able to utilize on the floor. Maybe a young piece in there as well, in a young player in Jaden Ivey who's had a little bit of an uptick, but don't know if that's on the table.
Young piece, Josh Giddey almost popped up on the screen, but keep it going.
Hey, dog, that's crazy. That was insane on so many levels because Josh Giddey almost popped up is also a wild take.
Is that a double entendre? Is
that was a double entendre. That was insanity. But I don't even know what point I was making right there. Oh no, I think that you don't want to make trades just for the sake of making trades, but it feels like you're at a no way out situation here with Zach LaVine. I think Zach LaVine would come back and he would be a model teammate. He would come in and do whatever was asked of him. I don't think that he's going to go the James Harden route, but you're in a situation right now where you're at the precursor to the James Harden route. Doesn't seem like he wants to be here. Doesn't seem like he wants to play for the coach that you have in place. Billy Donovan ain't going nowhere. We know that. He's got a 100-year contract extension basically. And it's a tough situation for the Bulls to be in, but that's why I'm glad that they are taking their time with this in some sense of it, because at the end of the day, you don't just want to make a trade for the sake of making a trade. And I feel like that's what Toronto did, right? Toronto felt like their back was against the wall. We got to make a move on a guy like Pascal Siakam no matter what. On the flip side, we also got to make a move on OG Anunoby because this team just isn't working. Let's do something just to do something. And I don't know if I agree with you that their motives were different here because remember, they have a first-year head coach in here who they felt like was going to turn things around for them, start winning. They went out and, re-signed Jakob Poeltl in this season. Like, I think, especially with Scotty Barnes on the team, there is an expectation that this team was going to take another step. And they did, just that way.
Well, I'm coming into the season, yes, but I think their motivation in making trades were different. Not that they got all terrible pieces back, but I think that this is a team that clearly now sees like the value in their own first round pick getting better, things like that. Whereas the Bulls have clearly stated we want win now pieces, I think the Toronto Raptors were more apt to basically saying, hey, let's get some solid pieces in here. But those draft picks, they got 2 first-round picks now in this upcoming draft. It gives them a little freeway to do so.
I would like to believe that, but I think they just suck, dog. Like,
I mean, that's true. That's true as well.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, they last game, right? Like, Emmanuel Quickly just like 8 points, 10 assists. You got Scotty Barnes out there with 22 and 12. You got RJ Barrett out there with 29 and 9. But you've seen that defense, dog. Like, they basically just letting you walk past them unless you're the Chicago Bulls. Then all of a sudden they're a clamp of a team because of how long they've been losing us so much. But I feel like you want to avoid the danger that the Raptors have put themselves in because, yes, you did go out and you made a trade for RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, 2 young pieces, one of them from Canada, right? So you're bringing him back home, but 2 young pieces that you feel maybe have some long-term improvement in them. But you also brought in the contracts that those guys are signed to. You also brought in the money, the long-term money that RJ Barrett is under. I believe he's got 3 more years on that deal still, right? So you're locked into him being here unless you're going to trade him away again. You also, right, like there's so many things that come with just making a trade that I think I do like the fact that the Bulls are being so much more careful about this because they don't want to just go in and be like, we just paying money to dudes. Like you didn't get, not only did you not get better, I don't even know if you got worse. I just think the team is as mediocre as it always was.
Like, the thing is, it's different, but it's
different,
same,
right? It's not better or worse. It's just different.
But the thing is, and I think that's what the Raptors had a lot of monotony. They had a lot of players that kind of all did very similar things, and nobody really progressed at the level where they had the more spacing. So you bring in Barry, you bring in Quickly, who is up for a contract extension, hasn't signed it yet. His contract's only $4 million. And they have that all the way. This is the last year of that, so they're gonna have to extend a qualifying offer. But then on top of that, you got Bruce Brown. Again, that's another contract you can get out as soon as this upcoming summer. So they gained some cap flexibility, more than what the Bulls theoretically, at least what we've heard, would gain. But I do think that this is a tell sign of this is why you don't just pull the trigger on a trade just to pull the trigger on a trade. Like the Raptors were different. They had to break up some of that, but the Bulls still have 3 more years of Zach LaVine under contract. There's no reason that they have to absolutely pull the trigger right now unless they get a deal that they like, or Zach LaVine does, like you said, does the Harden. He may have the fat suit ready. You never know. LaVine fat suit is wild. That'd be crazy. LaVine in a fat suit.
LaVine fat suit is just Zion Williamson, ain't it?
Not really.
I mean, like a fat Zach LaVine, a fat guy that could just jump and dunk. Like,
is
that a stretch? I felt like that was. I felt like that was a 1-to-1. Maybe it took us a long road.
Yeah. So Zach LaVine in the fat suit is more like O'Shea Jackson Jr. Have you seen how much weight he's gained? Like that's kind of the thing that I'm thinking about.
Well, it's just Ice Cube. It's just Ice Cube. Zach LaVine in a fat suit.
Ice Cube is actually pretty. He's lost it pretty much, but yeah, it's like late '90s Ice Cube. Absolutely.
God damn! I'm glad y'all set it up. Locked on Bulls will now be dissed by Ice Cube for the next 6 minutes. But if Ice Cube dissed us, that would be an amazing day. Like,
listen, I eat him alive. But with that said, listen, Petty Roosevelt takes no losses. But this is why, like when Casey Johnson, said on Bulls Talk on Friday, I believe, when he was like, the Bulls are in a place where they are ready to take the best deal that's available to them, but they're not in the place where they're going to take any deal that's offered to them. And I think that that's a very good mindset to have if you're this Bulls front office. Take the best deal that you get offered, but you don't have to take just any deal to take the deal.
I think the tough part is, right, are those different?
Yeah, it has to be, because
how many teams are we talking to? Again, we've only heard about the Bulls really talking or trade with Detroit. So your best deal may be the only any deal that's out there.
Well, because if it's just any deal and you don't look at it as so it has to be a good deal first. And so I think when I say take any deal, it means, hey, we got to move this guy. Whatever is the best offer at that time, we'll take it. But I think that by the nature of taking the best deal, it also has to have the basis of a good deal. Get the framework that you want. At least you're going to have to give up something, right? You're not going to get 100% of what you want at this point with the market of Zach LaVine. But I do think that that the Bulls are willing and ready, if needed, to just say, all right, bet we're just not going to trade Zach. We'll talk to you guys again in the offseason.
But now you're up in that trade kicker right now. Now that money goes the other direction. Now it's just like, Jerry, Jerry ain't moving him next year. Jerry not paying that kicker next year.
No, it's not. I don't think it's about paying he's going to pay the kicker regardless. And I think, we look at it, the kicker doesn't apply to our salary cap, so that because he's off the books. And it's not, people always talk about Jerry like he's not willing to spend money. Jerry spends money. He just doesn't want to spend into luxury checks. We're over the salary cap every year. Now, does that mean that we're going to probably use even less of our mid-level exception? Absolutely. It's Jerry Reinsdorf, but I don't think it'll keep them from making the Zach LaVine trade just because of the trade kick.
I think this year it wouldn't. I think next year it's going to be like Jerry Reinsdorf going to go to Zach LaVine like Scottie Pippen and be like, you signed it.
I mean, listen, that's crazy. I don't understand why they even put a trade kicker in there. Shout out to Rich Paul, man. Like he
basically hey, if you hate it here, like we know you want to be here.
Yeah,
right. Because if you hate it, or that we want you to be here, I should say.
True, but that puts players are so he's light skinned. You should have known that something was going to be used against you immediately. But with that said,
he's not even light skinned. He mixed. It's the same thing. Like it's worse.
The same thing. It results in the same thing. With that said, we got to talk about one of our sponsors.
Now, Mixed has options. You could be Zach LaVine. You could be Barack Obama. There's options with Mixed.
Shut up. Gotta talk to you guys about one of our sponsors. That's Quiiiz.com. This episode of Locked On Bulls is brought to you by Quiiiz. Today we're gonna have some fun and test your Chicago Bulls knowledge. And so they have these trivia questions set up. Bulls fans, if you guys get this wrong, you're not a fan of the team. You're fired from the team. One of the questions on this list is, what is the nickname of the Bulls mascot? Pat, what is the nickname of the Bulls mascot?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is exactly right. Now, if you guys are crazy like Pat the Designer, then you would say something like that. You guys know it's Benny the Bull. Quiiiz with 3 eyes is the next generation trivia experience. It's also the world's first platform where you can earn money playing knowledge games. And for Locked On Bulls fans, they've created an NBA quiz game where you can test your knowledge and win real cash. Play with your friends or other fans and let your knowledge shine all the way to the bank. You can play without downloading anything. Just go to the app.quiz with 3eyes.com and start playing today. NBA Quiz is the ultimate knowledge challenge for fans that live and breathe basketball. Go to app.quiz.com to test your knowledge and win cash today. That's Quiiiz with 3 eyes, just like the 3-pointer. Play now, showcase your skills, and take home cash prizes. App.quiz.com, where fans become champions. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Pat?
Jean-Claude Van Damme. I thought that was a good answer.
I mean, listen.
He's a fan, ain't he?
I'm sure he is. Speaking of 90s action heroes, the trailer to the new Roadhouse movie, today I actually watched the original Roadhouse. That movie is so much better than I remember, bro. It holds up. It's a really good.
It doesn't hit you like a lot of those 90s movies did. 90s was a weird time for movies. Like there were good movies in the 90s that were elite, but like all the movies in our mind that we were like, that was just a fun watch. Yeah. Like you watch them now.
One that didn't hold up, Best of the Best. I loved that movie as a kid growing up. I watched that like 3 months ago, and I was like, the acting in this is absolutely atrocious.
You know what gets me like that is what's the movie where old girl is fighting in the underworld? It was like early 2000s. It's not Matrix, but it's the same style. I can't think of the name of it now.
Kill Bill?
No, not Kill Bill holds up phenomenal.
I was about to say, come on now. That's what I was hoping that's not what you were talking about.
Resident Evil.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
Resident
terrible.
Evil, the first one. Bro, she was like kicking in the air, like kicking.
Bro, not hitting the thing. Like,
bro,
no,
I was like, what is that? And she was just like flat, like was vertically kicking forward. I was, oh God, it's bad. It's bad. Anyway.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Locked On Movies. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get into our
That's a great idea.
For the day.
A great idea.
Yeah, I mean, listen, take it to Locked On. They probably aren't gonna pick up on it. Don't worry about it. Me and Pat got something working. But with that said, P. Will is in a walking boot, Pat. Already ruled out for today's game against the Toronto Raptors. Now, Julian Phillips stepped up against a Portland Trailblazers team, but when you look at the Bulls going to play Toronto, who we talked a little bit about where their record sits at, how do you feel about P. Will missing this game and possibly some extended time?
Young guys take advantage. You have to. Especially young guys who provide something that P. Will doesn't. There's a lot that P. Will does provide. Defensive ability, you love what he's going to be able to do on both ends of the court. The ability to knock down that three-point shot on a more consistent basis. That you feel confident in that, and just overall his comfortability with the four guys that are out there on the offensive end. But for me, defensively, or for me, now I'm looking at, okay, what are these young guys going to do with IQ? What are you going to do defensively? What are you going to do off ball? How are you going to impact this game? How are you going to impact the games where P. Will could be out, to the point where when P. Will does come back, we all look around and go, hey, y'all really going to put him back in there?
Now, I do want to note that Patric Williams did say that the team basically suggested that he wear the walking boots, so for extra protection out there. And you know, Patric Williams even said he didn't necessarily want to wear it, but he's going to do what he wants to do. What
he
the team
like
is asking him to do.
Fine.
Yeah, he does. And
like, he ran up to Julian Phillips and like shook the mess out of him and then ran away
up too, didn't he? Pick him up a little bit.
Yeah, like he looked fine.
So hopefully that's a good sign that he is more okay than not. But listen, especially when you're playing, you know, some weaker teams in there, get the guys some rest. Julian Phillips played well. Why not say, hey, let's get a little opportunity to see the young guys for a little bit more, and then we can make a decision.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it at all. And I think this is a situation where P. Will take as much time as you need to recover. Not to say that I think that he'll be off the team or he won't be a part of a rotation when he comes back, but this is a time where who's going to step up? Who's going to make a name for themselves? Who's going to make things tough? This is how Ayo Dosunmu got his minutes, right? And we're going to talk about him getting back into a turn in the corner coming up, but like, this is how Ayo Dosunmu got into the game. It was because Lonzo Ball went down. Yes, he was getting minutes off of the bench, but it was a little bit more sporadic. There was a time where like he had lost some of those minutes because he was making rookie mistakes. And then you end up finishing out the season with Ayo Dosunmu as your starter, one of the better defenders in the NBA, able to prove himself, able to go out there and make a name versus other guys who were out there. Yes, the sophomore slump happened, but that's how you get to the point where a coach looks at you and goes, I'm not going to give up on you.
You're just dipping all in the third topic, bro. Stay on topic, man.
Oh, I'm still on the same topic. I'm talking about how young guys are able to get into the line.
Listen, bro. Like, sometimes you just got to learn when to stop.
Hey, listen. I have conversations. I have conversations. Hey, stop me. Hold on.
With yourself.
Stop talking. Anyway, so yeah, muted your back. Which is hilarious because at the end of the day, we can both unmute ourselves.
Exactly. It's hilarious, bro. It's always fun, bro.
I feel like this is an opportunity for one of these younger guys, Dalen Terry, Julian Phillips, whoever it is that gets that role, not Javon Carter, to actually get into the game.
Please no Javon
and
Carter.
Get an opportunity here.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. This is the chance. Julian, hey, we've seen it before. Ayo, when he initially, played those minutes early for the Chicago Bulls, is because Kobe White didn't start off that season. He never really is fully left the rotation after that. So this is possibly Julian Phillips' time, and Torrey Craig is motivating him, things like that. So let's hope that Julian Phillips does come out here and plays really well. Anybody who steps up in that role, and we'll see how it's going to go. Now, I'm going to ask you this: do we see Billy Donovan keep the starting lineup the same, considering that Toronto Raptors are a team with a little bit more size?
He loves a small ball lineup, man.
He does.
He'll throw AC out there at center. Who you changing it for? I don't think you play any of the young guys in a starting role. Well, Dalen started this season.
Yeah, Dalen started.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, DeMar played.
DeMar played.
Wasn't somebody out the last time we played Toronto that Dalen had to start?
What? I take that back. I forgot. Scotty Barnes is their starting 4 now. He's 6'7", so they're probably going to keep the lineup the same.
Scotty Barnes is only 6'7"?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like he was taller than that?
Because the wingspan, the Captain Carney wingspan.
You do got a Captain Carney wingspan, bro. Another dude with like, man, just you was looking right there, AK. You just didn't see that? I don't know. But you were at the game. You were literally at the game. But no, I think the lineup probably ends up staying the same unless you're going to throw Dalen in there, maybe. Which I guess I wouldn't be mad at. He started one game this season. I don't remember which game he started.
He did. I don't remember what team it was against, but he did start.
I thought it was
2 games, right? It was 2 games, right?
It was a couple of games. I thought it was Toronto he started against because of the size issue. But no, I think that would be one to keep an eye on, maybe, right? Dalen Terry getting back in the starting lineup. And the energy he brings, you might want to have that in the starting lineup as well. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This is I know how we feel about Toronto here, bro. Come on, dog.
I mean, they're the worst fan base in the world, bro.
Yeah, never. And we was upset at the Bulls fans for that booing of Jerry Krause's wife, but outside of that, like,
imagine that just being your fan base in general, like all the time.
Yeah, just imagine just being a group of D-bags, bro. Like it's tough, man. Standing beef for all Toronto fans. Hope the CFL fails. I don't know what that had to do with anything. Hey, before we get into this final topic, where we're going to break down Ayo Dosunmu, who is having probably, I'd say, the best stretch of his career. We do want to tell you guys about BetterHelp. BetterHelp is, I mean, listen, when me and Haize talk about some of the things that we're going through, we're huge proponents of therapy, and BetterHelp is one of the biggest things in the world. I'll tell you why. Because a lot of times, right, when you're dealing with insurances and different things like that, some of the therapists will forget about you. That didn't happen for me with BetterHelp, though. I fill out the survey. I go through all the points. I mean, it is a very, very pointed survey so that they can narrow down literally exactly the person that you are going to need as your therapist. And then at the end of the day, they pair you up with them. There's a ton of options. If the vibe isn't right between you and the therapist, you can always swap your therapist out for another one over the phone. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So all you have to do is go to BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Go today to get 10% off your first month. Now, we also got to tell you guys about FanDuel. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snack, and placing some super bets. Listen, FanDuel is absolutely the place where you need to go for your Super Bowl Sunday. Haize, where you watching the Super Bowl at this Sunday, my guy? Or next Sunday? You just chilling at the crib, bro? Solo dolo?
At the crib, so I can drink all I want and I have to see nobody. So,
all right, we might have to get you up here for the Super Bowl. That sounds but hey, if you're like me, right? I like a lot of people around me, like to have fun, like to enjoy some drinks, have a great time, and then at the end of the night, talk about who should have won the Super Bowl and what ended up happening to cause so many teams to lose the Super Bowl. But FanDuel has so many ways for you to end your season with a W or 2 or 3. Now you can bet on who will win the Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets on which player will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL.
All right, Pat, with that, man, we talked a lot about the growth of Kobe White this year, rightfully so. He deserves to be that story for Chicago Bulls. Talk about positive, not talking about trades, things like that. But Ayo Dosunmu has put together one of the best stretches of his career. For the first time in his career, he's been over 10 points in 7 straight games since January 13th. He's shooting the ball. He's scoring 14.7 points per game, 56.5% shooting from the field. He's also gone 10 of 22 from three-point range. We already talked about the brand of defense, how he's attacking the rim more, getting out in transition, passing the ball really well in transition as well. What do you think about this recent stretch from Ayo Dosunmu?
I think it speaks to what we were talking about with the young guys before, doing anything you can do to keep yourself on the court. To me, Ayo Dosunmu over this last 10 games has really done all the little things, the intangibles. I'm fighting to save the ball. I'm pushing the ball ahead. I'm grabbing the rebounds. If I'm wide open, and I think honestly, all we asked them to do, if you're wide open, knock the shot down. Now, all of a sudden, listen, not only is he making contested layups, he's making wide open ones. That really helps if you're going to be a good player in the NBA. So I'm really excited about what we've seen from Ayo Dosunmu. I think that he's probably, this is the best basketball we've seen him play on both sides of the floor, right? Of course, his rookie year, that defense, I still don't think he's gotten his defensive game back to that point. Like he was elite his rookie year defensively. I still feel like he hasn't gotten back to that point, but it's also we're asking him to do more. Rookie year, we were just saying go out there and defend. Go out there and stop the guy standing in front of you. That's all I need you to do. Now we need you to knock down the shot. We need you to be able to get to the bucket. This is the most that we've seen him be a dual threat guy in the NBA, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you gotta give him his credit for it, and he's been really good, man. And I love that the confidence that Ayo's playing with as well, because after that sophomore slump, it would have been really easy for Ayo to be down on himself, not really play with confidence, but he really came in. He took the benching, moving from the starting point guard to that bench role, and he's really thrived in that. You know, the whole team kind of started off slow and sluggish, trying to fill out things, so I'm not holding that against him, but as he got more comfortable and understood what he was going to do, I think the refinement of that role coming off the bench has really helped Ayo Dosunmu just understand how to impact the game so much more.
Yeah, last 10 just offensively, right? He's shooting 54% from the field, shooting 48% from the three-point line. Like you love what you're seeing. And here's the thing: 8 blocks, 6 steals, 25 assists, 25 boards. Yeah. Contributing in every single way possible. That's what I want to see. And I need to see more of that continue, because I don't know if Ayo Dosunmu is going to reach maybe the heights that we thought his rookie year would be. I think we thought there was more of a jump that was coming, but he's still young, so there's time for that to happen. But can you be one of the best role players off the bench? Can you be a guy that in moments like this where Zach LaVine is down, okay, we need somebody to step into the starting lineup? Ayo Dosunmu seems very comfortable with that. He seems very comfortable opposite of Kobe White, which means we could play you on the floor more. I feel like this is probably one of his, when you talk about comfort, it feels like the game is finally slowed down for him. That sophomore year when everybody was like, oh, you one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA, huh? All right, we'll see how much that go for you. Seemed like everything all of a sudden, even in the second year, was moving so fast for him. Yeah. This year, and especially in this stretch, it just seems like he's like, yep, I need to be right there. I got the steal. Here we go. Let's get on the run. I also think playing with AC has really elevated his game as much as he's played with AC this season.
Agree. Definitely agree with that. So let's hope that it continues, man. There's no reason to think that it's going to stop anytime soon. I think that the way that Ayo's playing is sustainable. He's letting the game come to him, and to see Ayo develop in the way that he has been huge. Let me ask you this, Pat: what you've seen from Ayo Dosunmu, do you think that high-level bench player is basically what he is going to be, or do you think he has that ceiling? Because we at one point thought Drew Holiday was that ceiling for him. Do you think he can get back to being a starter at some point?
I think he starts on a bad Bulls team. I think if this Bulls team does become good, you want to have Ayo Dosunmu being the leader off of your bench. You want Ayo Dosunmu to turn into AC. Or you come out of the game and you just go, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. That was cool. That was a nice little game for him. Shot 50% from the three-point line. Okay, but then when you leave that game, the impact that he left on the court. I think right now, I would say that's the kind of player that I need Ayo Dosunmu to be. And listen, the sky's the limit. Break all the barriers you can break and become the best player you can be. But right now, if I see a really, really good Bulls team, to me, he is the Alex Caruso for us coming off of the bench.
That's fair. That's fair. Great points there, Pat. Let's go ahead and just like out of WWE, let's get the hell out of here like Vince McMahon peaced out. So let's go. Bro, did you see those? Did you see those texts? Did you see those texts, bro? That's crazy.
Yo.
Hey, we'll talk about that off air.
Wish.
That will get us fired. We'll talk about that off air.
Oh, no. I'm not going to say it, but I just want to be able to, if I didn't work for ESPN, I would absolutely tweet out that clip of Vince McMahon talking about, come on out of there. You. Come on, dog. That's a great. Haize, you got to tweet it for me. You got to tweet it for me.
I'm not doing it. I work for Bleacher Report. Let's get out of here, Pat, man. Let's go, man.
Oh, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Don't say that in the comments.
That's crazy. You guys can follow me at CEO Haize. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls, and we out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
That's crazy.
Hey, man. I didn't say it. Vince said it.
Hey.
Austin, you start off.